I'm Bob with today's Daily Connection at the Vineyard Community Church at Mount Comfort. I'm going to start this off by reading several sets of scriptures to you to kind of set the atmosphere. And so we're going to start with Revelations 12 verse 11 because I'm talking about testimonies. And they overcame him, that is the devil, because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their testimony, and they did not love their life even when faced with death. Second one is Psalm 103 verse 2. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget none of his benefits. Exodus 16:33 and 34. Moses said to Aaron, take a jar and put an omer full of manna in it, and place it before the Lord to be kept throughout your generations. And the Lord commanded Moses, as the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron placed it before the testimony to be kept. Psalm 119 verse 2. Blessed are those who keep or observe his testimonies, who seek him with their whole heart. And then Revelations 19:10. I am your fellow servant, said the angel, and of your brethren who have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So our testimony of God's supernatural involvement, if you listen through all these, has been kept with the Lord in his holy presence. And when I realized that the other day again, it's like, wow, there's power there. These testimonies that we share are important. And therefore, it is important to rehearse them, to remember them, to share them over and over again with one another and with others. So I'm going to share a testimony with you that occurred in 2002 when a friend and I went to Samara, Russia to teach in the Bible Institute. My wife and I had been sending monthly donations to one of the students there, and my friend and I were taken to her house as a thank you for sending the money that allowed her to go to school. And we went to her house in a small village, some hours from Samara, in the middle of nowhere in Russia. She had no plumbing in the house. She had no running water. There was no bathroom. There was a single light bulb in the middle of the ceiling. The only thing she had to cook on was a hot plate. It was a very small house. The walls were stuffed, the cracks between the wood were stuffed with paper, newspaper, and the students from the Bible Institute came out and covered the walls with nice wallpaper, which even further cut down on the amount of wind that was blowing through the house. Can you imagine how that house felt in the wintertime in Russia? It had to be very cold. So there were maybe 12 Christians in that village, and several of them came to meet us that day, and we had a small meal together, and then we prayed for each one of the people. And she had invited her adult son to come in hope that we would pray for him too. Well, he came, stood at the door, yet, nope, he would not come into the room. He didn't want to have anything to do with this, but he was being obedient to his mother. And she was distraught because he wouldn't come in, so we couldn't pray for him. And I said, no. See, the glory of God through Jesus Christ is the communicable attributes of God's goodness. And we see this in John 17. So things like truth and mercy and forgiveness and loving kindness are given to us by God through Jesus as his glory. And see, in the spirit realm, there is no distance or time. So just because he does not enter the room all the way is not a hindrance to praying for him. So I'm going to demonstrate what I did, because I had done this before. So in my mind, I imagine me taking the glory of God and making like a big ball, like a snowball, a glory ball. I made it like that. And everyone was looking at me like, what is he doing? So I was doing that, and I rolled back my arm like this, and I looked at him as if he was the batter, and I threw that glory ball at him. And he goes, and he ran out of the room. Well, she was really distraught then. I said, no, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Because I knew that we were releasing the glory of God to this young man, well, older man, with his goodness, God's goodness, his love. And but we didn't know what happened. And we didn't pray some kind of special prayer over him that she thought we needed to do. No, I just threw a glory ball at him. So here's the rest of the story. About 3 days later, one of the Russians who had been with us in that room came back to the Institute, and she was just so excited. And she wanted to share what happened. She said, "What did you do? What did you do?" He said, "His life has been changed. He has received the Lord. He is a new creation. He's been born again. What did you do?" And we tried to explain, it's God that did it. And we just released his glory. We sent forth his word, and it impacted him. We sent forth his light and entered him, and he received it. Because I'm sure the planting of his mother all those years had taken root. We were just watering it with God's glory. So that man was saved. He was changed in a new creation. Because I did what seemed like a very foolish thing. I threw a glory ball at him. I've done that before and been different kinds of results. But you know, it is the power of God to bless. So we can take the glory of God in whatever form he chooses to manifest it. And just like that right now, I take his glory, his goodness, and I throw it at you, that the Lord would impact you with his goodness and mercy and grace through Jesus Christ. The blessing of the Lord be with you.
Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come.